Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Get Loud with Leadership. Today, I'm being joined by one of my fellow rising seniors, Aiden Griffin, and today's topic, we're going to be talking about navigating relationships and networking. Now, relationships can be both personal and professional, so we're going to touch on both of those today a little bit. I wanted to start off, Aiden, by asking you, what would you say that networking and personal relationships are something that you value, and to what extent?
I definitely feel like networking and like those relationships and things of that nature. Like I feel like that's important to me because like networking is important. Like it's important to network to um like just build connections, get yourself out there. Like you never know what connections will benefit you in the future. So I feel like that's definitely important.
What are some of the within like the last like within your high school journey, I'd say, what is the most or what are some of the most meaningful connections that you've made, whether through networking in like professional relationships or personal aspects like friendships and that kind of stuff?
Um, I feel like I feel like I've built some good relationships with my classmates, of course. I feel like I've built some pretty good relationships with the staff at my school, like my assistant principal. Um really like most of the staff. I feel like the staff mostly views me um just as a hard worker, a overachiever, and I feel like that's definitely beneficial and yeah.
Okay, so how would you say that's like helped you throughout your journey? Like I know me personally, a lot of my school knows me as like the academic person and who's like especially on top of their work. And I'd say it helped me personally with like building a reputation with my teachers. So like when I do sometimes like fall behind, or if I do need like extra help, they're willing to like give it to me because they know that I'm a hardworking student. How would you say that like your persona, I guess, has helped you?
I feel like my persona has kind of helped me like in the same way that you just described. Like my teachers know, like they know that I'm a hard worker. They know that like I overachieve, get my work done. Like strive to be like the best at the top. So when I do slip, when I do turn in an assignment late, or every so often just slack a little bit, I feel like my teachers, they kind of give me a break a little bit, I guess, because like they know who I am. They know, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes. I definitely think there's a line between maintaining like a professional persona and maintaining this like attitude, so where people will look up to you, I guess, or see you as a certain type of person. But would you say there's like a boundary between that professional relationship and like professional outward appearance versus like how you personally act?
definitely not gonna lie. Like I feel like I feel like when I'm around like certain staff or just like certain people in general or around like certain crowds, like I can code switch. Like
Yeah.
if I'm in a professional like space, then I'm definitely not gonna use like a lot of the slang that I would usually use, or things of that nature. But there is definitely like a line, like a boundary in between those two.
Yeah, I know like with me, I call it like mom mode, like when I'm when there's definitely a difference between how I act around my friends and like people I'm really comfortable with versus like say how I'd act around my mom, other people's moms, like when I'm going over to their house. It's definitely, I don't want to say more like professional, more kind of more professional. I don't want to say it's less personal because it's still like the same me, but it's just fine tuned to like my audience. So, how would you say, like, would you say you like yourself more how you act like around, like in your, I guess, mom mode, or like how you act around people you're really comfortable with, like your friends and stuff?
Um, I definitely like myself better, like the way that I act around my friends. But to be honest, lately, I feel like the difference between like how I act around my friends and like how I act like professionally, like I feel like the two are kind of fusing into one. So like
Yeah.
it's not really that much different. Like of course I'm using like different words. I'm not using all the slang and stuff like that, but I feel like as far as like my vibe, like my attitude and things of that nature, I feel like it's the same.
Yeah, I feel like definitely, I don't know, I guess it's part of getting older or what, but my two like personalities are definitely more so fusing together to where like I'm feeling more comfortable like being open and myself with like adults around me. And in that same breath, I'm feeling like I guess more mature and like stuff around my friends. So they're kind of becoming one, and I'm starting to like who I'm growing into be, like, in terms of that, like, I don't feel like I have 2 separate, like, personalities anymore, and so I wanted to ask you, personally wise, like, can you speak a little bit more on, like, your closest, like, personal relationship and how that's impacted you?
My closest personal relationship. Well, it's like a group of us, and we've been friends since like elementary school. I feel like they definitely helped shape me into the person that I am. You know, like I have friends that like don't really sugarcoat nothing. Like they not no yes men. They don't tell me what I want to hear. Like they just tell me like what it is. Like they just keep it 100, like just straight up. So I feel like that definitely shaped me into the person that I am today. Like I went through a lot of like character development with them, just all stuff that improved me as a person.
Speaking of character development and like navigating relationships, how would you say like, so I know you said you've changed as a person, you've had character development, you've probably matured definitely. Would you say you had like a rocky relationship with anybody at first, or maybe you were really good with somebody and that's like shifted and done like a 180 like as you've grown and matured as a person?
Definitely like the person that I would say is like my best friend. Like we completely did not like each other at first. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like it was very rocky. It was very rough at the beginning, but like when we hit high school and like maybe towards like the end of 10th grade, it just kind of like flipped the switch for some reason. Like I still can't really explain it. I really don't know why, but like now it's just we just the best of friends.
Would you say it was, like, due to maturing? Like, what was, like, the personality, like, shift you'd say, like, made y'all that close?
Well, really, I feel like it's the experiences that we went through together. Like at the end of 10th, well, yeah, at the end of 10th grade, we kind of like went through some stuff together, and then like from then on, like I feel like that just kind of like made us really close. And then at the beginning of 11th grade, like we was just in the same lane. So like from then on, it was just like we was just inseparable.
Yeah, I definitely get that, like, I'd say I kinda had, like, the opposite happen to me, like, people I was really close with, like, going into high school and, like, in
That
middle
too.
school, especially like that, and people I thought, like, would be in, like, my life forever, like, were like this. As we, like, grew and matured, it was kinda like some of us, it was just, like, distance, and we just grew apart, and then some of us, it was literally, like, we're no longer, like, compatible to be, like,
Bro,
friends
bro,
anymore.
yes,
Can you
yes,
speak on that a little
yes,
bit?
bro. Like, um, I was friends with a lot of people like from middle school. Like I'm still friends and I still communicate like with a lot of them to this day. But like my best friend from middle school, like we didn't really fall out, so to speak, but we're just not really close anymore. And I feel like it's not really a particular thing that they did. Like it's no like bad blood or anything, but I just feel like as we both grew And like as I'm going through this character development, like I'm hanging around like my other group of friends, and like I'm just like developing and getting more mature. I feel like I just kind of not outgrew the person, because like I don't know, that kind of sounds bad, but
Yeah.
like you know.
Yeah, like grew apart kind of. I definitely think like at first my like friend group issues, some of it was like due to circumstances, something they did, something I did, whatever, but like as we got older and like mended that relationship kind of, our distance more so just became like we were growing to be two separate people and we were like evolving, I guess, in two separate directions, and neither direction was like wrong necessarily. Like I'll use a specific example, like I really want to go into the political field and I want to go into law and that kind of thing, and my friend was really pushed to go in an opposite direction that I wasn't really morally comfortable hanging around. And so I'm not going to judge them and I'm not going to like dog on them or anything. But we were just, because they're still a good person and I know that, but we were just evolving in two separate directions that didn't really correlate with each other anymore. So it was hard to find that common ground. I know. As for like making new relationships and new connections, you mentioned like in a past podcast episode how you're really good at like being social and like making those connections. So what would you say is like your biggest help in doing that?
Honestly, like honestly, my friends, my friends are the ones who push me to like just come out of my shell, be more charismatic. So like if I'm in a room like full of a bunch of people that I don't know, like for example, driving school, like I was at driving school, and like, of course the first day, like everybody being quiet and stuff like that. But me, like the teacher talking and stuff like that, we going through stuff, like the whole class just start talking, like I'm making jokes, like I'm just, I don't know, I'm just being charismatic, just talking to people, you know, like just stuff like that. Like I feel like my friends definitely helped me get out of my shell, and like now I'm not
That's
really like scared or shy to like really interact with anybody
no,
anymore.
definitely. I think a like really good part of relationships is that they like pull out new parts of yourself. I know I'm in this organization called Jack and Jill, and when I first like started in it, like not when I first started it, but when I first entered like the teen group my freshman year, I was really quiet. I didn't really talk to anybody. I was kind of just like I sat on the sidelines and I noticed like there was this whole like big group of them that had all known each other since like middle school, elementary school, and they were all really cool and really tight. And I was just like, okay, well, there's no way I can like be like them and like be in this group because I'm not outspoken and loud like this. But like after hanging around them more, they like slowly pulled me into their group. And when we would go to parties, when we would go to events or anything, they'd always like push me. They'd be like, go speak up, go answer that question, go get in the middle of the dance floor, go do anything. And it definitely made me more confident in putting myself out there as to where I used to just be like, okay, well, I don't want to intrude on anybody's space or I don't want to do this. It definitely made me able to be more open and confident with myself to where now I can say like I'm the team president of that group. I just ran for a regional election in that organization. So friends definitely help you to push you out of your shell, I think. What would you say, like, do you have like a teacher or a coach that's been really monumental in your life and can you speak on them?
Uh, I feel like I feel like I don't really know about a coach. Like I've been playing sports, but I wouldn't really say a coach, but a teacher. Um, I could probably say, well, not a teacher, but a staff member, like my assistant principal at my school. I would say that she's like, our relationship has been like extremely impactful, like throughout my whole high school career. Like I feel like she just made like the school like kind of feel like home. Like she just made me feel comfortable. Just there in general, like anything I needed, like I could just go to her, and yeah, like I feel like she just made it a comfortable experience. She made the transition period kind of smooth. So yeah.
What would you say is your biggest like character growth? Because a lot of our relationships, yes, have to do with other people, but a lot of it also has to do with ourselves and how we present ourselves. So, over your high school career, or maybe even like going back to middle school, what would you say was your biggest character development, your biggest character trait that grew, and how did it grow?
I feel like I feel like going I feel like going from middle school to high school, like the transition like was a little rough, not gonna lie. I feel like once I got to high school, like I was just in my shell, like I wouldn't say I was shy, but I don't know. I guess I just wasn't like really confident, you could say. But like eventually, like at the end of 10th grade, I was, it was a situation I was going through some stuff, but I feel like that was the start of like the real like character development that like started changing me. And then like all the way to 11th grade, like over the summer, first semester of 11th grade, all the way to like me coming back to lab the second semester of 11th grade. Like I feel like when I came back, I was kind of like the finished product. And then like comparing the school, like and like my experience at the school, like me being, I guess, new there again, like me having to like kind of transition to being back there again versus me coming there in ninth grade. Like I saw a lot of differences like in myself. Like it was easier for me to, like find my place there again than like it was in ninth grade. So I definitely feel like it was a confidence thing. And also, just me having friends that push me to be, just more outgoing, more charismatic and things of that nature. So yeah.
So, you've moved schools.
Um the first semester of the first semester of 11th grade, I moved schools. I wasn't at Southern Lab, but I came back the second semester.
What, if it's not too personal to ask, or you can be vague or whatever, what made you decide to move? And I'm guessing since you moved back so quickly, you didn't really like it. So, how would you say, what was the difference in how you say you'd acted between like the two schools? And what was the difference in the environment, I guess?
I'm not gonna lie, like, bro, the school I was at the first semester, like it was just a 0 out of 10, like all around. It was just terrible. Like I didn't like the person that I was becoming. When I was at that school, I felt like my mental space was really bad when I was at that school. Like it was just altogether like terrible. So I just feel like I needed a change. And Southern Lab is like the only place that like I really know, like when it comes to like high school. Like that's it just feels like home. Like that's the only place I know. So I just decided to go back, and it was definitely a good decision. Like I'm thriving. So
Yes. I think there's definitely like a lot of who your character is and a lot of the relationships you make happen because of the environment that you're in. I know I've changed schools a couple times. Just last year, I left St. Joseph's Academy and I moved to Baton Rouge High, and just noticing the change that like occurred within myself within the past year is like astronomical. Like I feel like at SJA the culture is very like homogenous. There's very much so a certain way you have to be, a certain way you have to act, a certain way you have to look, and your relationships with people are basically entirely based on like how well you achieve those things. Where at Baton Rouge High, there's a lot of different people and there's a lot of different ways to act, and just because you don't act one way you may not fit in with this group, but there's going to be another group that you feel like you're at home with and that you feel like you can be yourself around. So I feel like I definitely, not only did I come out of my shell leaving SJ, but I also felt like my personality was less stifled and I could make friends with people who I don't want to say genuinely liked, because the friends that I did make at SJ that I am still close with, I do genuinely like them, but it was rare and a lot harder to find at that school than Baton Rouge High, because you kind of have to search for the people and like really hone in on, I guess, the underlying fastest people, because everybody's trying to fit in. So you have to find like the areas of yourself that don't necessarily fit in, if that makes sense. But so I know Louisiana Leadership, if you guys didn't know, is sponsored and hosted by Congressman Cleo Fields of Louisiana's 6th District. So that is a very big connection, a very big networking opportunity. I want to ask, and how long have you been in leadership?
I've been in leadership a decade.
Okay, so you've known Congressman Fields for 10 years. So he's known you since you were like little. How would you say, like, did you realize when you first like got in leadership, like how, I guess, like big of a thing it was that like you're seeing this like influential figure on a weekly basis and like personally?
Well, actually, many people, like, I don't like to just like go around saying this, but many people don't know this, but the congressman like is my uncle. So like growing up, like it wasn't really like as significant to me because like I didn't really see him as like this huge figure because like this was my uncle. Like I'm seeing
Hmm.
him like, family cookout,
Yeah.
like all that type of stuff. But like as I grew up and, like started paying more attention and just like started maturing and stuff like that, I definitely realized like how big of a figure he is. So yeah.
Would you say like what's the impact that he's had on you as a person?
Um, I feel like I definitely look up to him. I feel like him being in the political space and being, like this huge political figure as well as some of my other family members, I feel like that's definitely made me want to follow in those footsteps. So like I'm definitely considering, like pursuing law and things of that nature. Like I'm still keeping my options open, exploring, but I feel like that's, one of the main things that I want to do. So I would say that they definitely just made me kind of look up to them. So yeah.
And then I know for me, both Congressman Fields and Mrs. Fields have been like huge in my life. I want to say probably see Mrs. Fields more just because she's at leadership more, but definitely she's also a big person who encouraged me to step out of my shell. I first came to leadership in like, I want to say 8th grade. Yeah. And I remember like walking in the first time and they were like, all right, get up, introduce yourself, say your name, say you're great, let everybody ask you questions. And I was just like, oh my God, like, please just let me sit back down. But now, like, because of Mrs. Fields' influence, and she's definitely always pushing everybody at leadership, like, join this club, do this, do this. And at first I was like, I'm too shy. I don't want to do any of this. But now, after being secretary especially, and like getting to interact with all like the little kids and people our age who like know me now and who like want to talk to me, it's like I'm really happy that she did that. So I'd say that's a really big networking and like relationships aspect of leadership, like the personal relationships and growth that they let you build. Ending off, what is something that you want to say to the audience in terms of building relationships or keeping them?
Um, well, I want to say two things. The first thing is just be yourself, be your authentic self, because you know you don't want to force anybody to have a connection with you, to be your friend, to be around you. Just be yourself. If you be yourself, then the people who are meant to be around you are going to be around you. Number two, be confident. Um, I know it's like easier said than done, but like walking up to people first, interacting with people first, like it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. So yeah.
Thank y'all. And thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. I feel like our audience could really get a lot out of it if they were struggling or if they were in that shy headspace that I know I was and maybe you might have been in. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next week for your favorite podcast, Get Loud with Leadership. Bye.